Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 for the news first where the people come first. I'm Martin Satya Desan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe meets Chinese President Xi Jinping. Electricity tariffs revised for the third time during the year, an increase between 18 to 20%. IMF reaches staff-level agreement on the first review of Sri Lanka's extended fund facility arrangement. Will not allow Hamas and the Russian president to win, a statement from the US president.
On to those stories in detail. The electricity tariffs have been increased effective today between 18 to 20%.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka revised the electricity tariffs after assessing the facts presented by the Ceylon Electricity Board. The most notable revision is the higher percentage of increase in tariffs for low consumption consumers. Under the new tariffs, a household that consumes 30 units of electricity will pay 540 rupees up from 450 rupees. This is a 90 rupee increase or 20%. Consumers who consume 60 units or more will see their tariffs increase by 18%. For example, an entity that previously received a bill of 4,470 rupees will now be charged 5,280 rupees. This is an increase of 810 rupees or an increase of 18%.
In one of your headline-making stories, President Ranil Wickremesinghe called on Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday in Beijing.
The president is currently on a visit to China to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. President Wickremesinghe met Chinese Finance Minister Liu Kang on Thursday. The Chinese Finance Minister reaffirmed China's commitment to extend comprehensive support for the implementation of a medium-term and long-term program that is mutually beneficial to both parties and aimed at optimizing Sri Lanka's debt.
The IMF Deputy Mission Chief for Sri Lanka said in order to eliminate the financial losses in the electricity sector, it is crucial to maintain cost recovery in electricity pricing. Speaking to reporters on Friday, she said the financial losses in the electricity sector eventually become a burden on the taxpayers, especially on the poor and vulnerable.
And there we would like to emphasize that sudden electricity cost recovery is crucially important to eliminate financial losses in the electricity sector because at the end of the day that becomes a burden on the taxpayers, including on those who are poor and vulnerable. So it's one of the key elements of the fund supported program in Sri Lanka. At the same time, as Sarvat has highlighted, the impact of the tariff hike on the poor should be mitigated by the strong social safety net. And in addition to that, Sri Lanka should implement structural reforms to make the electricity sector more efficient and improve the governance of state-owned enterprises more generally. That should lower the cost of electricity in the medium and long term. And that's something that the authorities are working on.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa expressed the following views in Parliament pertaining to the electricity tariff revision.
Honourable Speaker, I raised the question 2 days ago regarding the unjustified increase in electricity tariffs. The Honourable Minister requested to provide the answers later. The issue is that the Ceylon Electricity Board proposed a 22% increase to recover a loss of 31 billion rupees. A public consultation was also called for. However, without any data, there are arrangements to increase the tariffs by 18%. We are completely against this. There is no requirement to increase the tariffs because the CEB is making profits even at the current rates. However, the CEB has also breached the law by planning to increase the tariffs 4 times using a special clause that allows for only 2 revisions. The PUCSL is also involved in illegal activity by breaching its own act. The Energy Minister is not even here to provide an answer because the decision has already been made. My privilege and that of other ministers have been breached. I request you to please inform the PUCSL not to unjustifiably increase electricity tariffs.
The The IMF said late on Thursday, IMF staff and the Sri Lankan authorities have reached a staff-level agreement on economic policies to conclude the first review of the 48-month EFF-supported program.
Accordingly, Sri Lanka will have access to 254 million SDR, which is around $330 million in financing once the review is approved by IMF management and IMF Executive Board. IMF statement is as follows. After constructive discussions with the authorities in Colombo and during the annual meetings in Marrakesh, IMF Senior Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, Peter Brewer, and Deputy Mission Chief issued the following statement. The IMF team reached a staff-level agreement with the Sri Lankan authorities on the first review under an economic reform program supported by a 48-month extended fund facility arrangement. The arrangement was approved by the IMF Executive Board for a total amount of 2.3 billion SDR, which is about $3 billion on the 20th of March. Upon approval by the IMF Executive Board, Sri Lanka would have access to 254 million SDR, bringing the total IMF financial support disbursed under the arrangement to 508 million SDR, which is around $660 million.
The International Monetary Fund on Friday said that the agreement reached between the government of Sri Lanka and the Exim Bank of China did not have an impact on the IMF staff-level agreement on the first review of Sri Lanka's extended fund facility arrangement.
Was the news from China that there's an agreement between Sri Lanka and the China Exim Bank, did that have an impact on now reaching staff-level agreement? And the answer to that is no. The staff-level agreement is the outcome of having agreed between the IMF staff and the Sri Lankan authorities on a set of strong measures that will help achieve the objectives of the program in the various areas, revenue-based fiscal consolidation, the strengthening the social supports to the poor and vulnerable, financial stability, debt sustainability, all these objectives. The reaching debt sustainability is a separate track. The authorities are engaged with their creditors in finding debt treatments that would help restore debt sustainability in line with the debt targets under the program. And so that is the second leg of activity that needs to be brought forward in order for us to be able to present the review to the IMF Executive Board.
US President Joe Biden has delivered a televised speech on the US response to Hamas' attack against Israel. He said both Putin and Hamas both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy.
Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. So if we don't stop Putin's appetite for power and control in Ukraine, he won't limit himself just to Ukraine.
US President Joe Biden directly appealed to Americans for US support in the wars in Israel and Ukraine and announced he would send a request to Congress for more aid. The remarks come one day after the president traveled to Tel Aviv and brokered a Gaza aid agreement between Egypt and Israel. President Biden also stressed the urgency of getting relief to Palestinian civilians in Gaza who lack food, water and medicine. Meanwhile, United Nations Relief and Work Agency chief says the world is losing its humanity. The Commissioner General of UN Relief Agency, UNRWA, said violence could spill over across the region. And he warned about the dire situation for civilians inside Gaza, calling again for humanitarian aid corridors into the territory. Meanwhile, the Washington Post reports that the Pentagon said US forces in the Middle East have come under threat by attack drones at least 5 times in 3 days, and on Thursday intercepted numerous weapons launched by militants in Yemen, a new development amid fears that the war between Israel and Hamas could engulf the surrounding region. A Pentagon spokesman said the incidents have involved US troops in Iraq and Syria and aboard a Navy destroyer in the Red Sea. Speaking at a news conference, he said the spate of action entailed 3 attack drones targeting US military positions in Iraq on Tuesday, 2 drones zeroing in on a garrison in Syria on Wednesday, and the downing by personnel on the USS Carney of cruise missiles and drones launched by Iranian-backed fighters, possibly aimed at Israel.
Issuing a weather advisory, the Met Department notes fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, can be expected at some places in over central and eastern provinces. Showers will occur in western and southern provinces during the morning too. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
Many low-lying areas in the Mathura district were flooded last night owing to heavy rains that resulted in the water levels of the Nilvala river to increase. These areas have been flooded repeatedly over the past 1.5 months due to heavy showers. The Kadduwa road through the Mathura-Malimbada area is also flooded, disrupting vehicular movement. Wellatota-Malimbada road was also inundated, hampering vehicular movement. Low-lying areas in Katuwangoda, North Malimbada, Uninduwela and Narangala are inundated. Meanwhile, Mathura District Secretary Y. Vikramasiri noted that a part of the salinity barrier of the Nilvala river is being removed. The District Secretary noted that the activities are taking place under the supervision of the Army, the Department of Irrigation and the Water Supply and Drainage Board with the involvement of the Mathura District Secretariat. Meanwhile, owing to heavy showers since last night, several areas along the Baddegama Ambalangoda are inundated. Several low-lying areas in the Beligaha, Kahaduwatta and Hiribura areas in Galle were flooded. Vehicular movement along these roads were hampered as well. A tree uprooted in Gampaha along the Uva Paranagam and Udupu Sellava road, completely halting vehicular movement. According to our correspondent, the area residents are severely inconvenienced as a result of the tree not being removed from the location.
The United Republic Front says that the government should provide relief to the people facing hardships from the economic crisis.
The World Food Programme reports that 30% of the people in Sri Lanka have reduced the number of meals they consume per day, 40% have reduced the quality of their food, and people are spending 60% of their savings on meals. Almost half of the population is hungry. School attendance has decreased and thousands of jobs have been lost. Around 500,000 to 600,000 small and medium business owners have closed their businesses, or about 50% of small and medium businesses. We request the government to prioritize the issues of the people, speak about how the income levels of the people and the country can be increased.
Federation of University Teachers Association engaged in a discussion with the Frontline Socialist Party yesterday.
Many matters regarding the tax policy of the government, professionals migrating and the present situation of the state education sector were discussed. The state university system has been diminished to the bare minimum, resulting in a decrease in the standard of living of the professors involved. The standard of the students is also decreasing and the funds allocated to university resources have been cut. Considering these factors, it is clear that the state university system is being removed and it is being handed over to the private sector. When the government introduced the tax policy, it expected to collect 60 billion rupees through the payee tax. However, this is trending towards 140 billion rupees by the end of this year. The question that comes to mind is when the tax income has increased beyond expectations and taxpayers are continuously voicing the impact of high taxes, why is attention not being focused on this matter? It is clear that there is a motive to exert unnecessary pressure on professionals and increase the minimum conditions for professionals to live in this country beyond the topic of tax collection.
ලංකාවේ එම ප්‍රජාවට රට ඇතුළේ ජීවත් වීමට තියෙන අවම කොන්දේසි සම්පූර්ණ උදුර ගැනීම.
News first with the people.
Day 38 of the second leg of the LOLC Devi Savia program got underway today. Today's program was held centering zonal education officers in Tanamalvila, Vallavaya and Bibile.
The second leg of the LOLC Divisavia program will provide school books and stationery items to schools with less than 100 students. This birth initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. School books and stationery items were distributed among students of the Serava Primary School, Ilukaputhanna Kanishta Vidyalaya, Kanavegalla Kanishta Vidyalaya, Rattanadeniya Kanishta Vidyalaya, Kotuwe Gangoda Primary School, Alutwala Primary School and Thittavale Kula Primary School.
Official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
Finally, in your sports news, Australia is set to take on Pakistan in the 18th match of the 2023 ICC Cricket World Cup in Bangalore today. The match is set to be played at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. Pakistan is currently placed 5th in the points table after winning 2 of the 3 matches it has played in the competition. Australia, meanwhile, is placed 6th with its only win coming against Sri Lanka after being defeated by India and South Africa. Australia and Pakistan have met in 10 ODI World Cup matches, with Australia winning 6 and Pakistan winning 4. Today's match is scheduled to commence at 2 p.m. local time. Cricket fans can watch and listen to all the actions of the World Cup via the MTV MBC networks, the official local broadcast rights holder of the tournament. The matches are being streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk. Shakti TV has been a shining beacon of information, knowledge and entertainment for the Tamil-speaking audiences around the country and is celebrating its 25th anniversary today.
Shakti TV, Desatin Shakti.
Today, Shakti TV celebrated its 25th anniversary on a grand scale at the Depanama Studios. Chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, Sashi Raja Mahendran, Chief Executive Officer of the Capital Maharaja Group, Sunil Kanoja, Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group, Shevan Daniel, and the Director of Shakti TV, Murugesu Kulendran, and several other invitees participated in the event. A special program was also telecast to mark the occasion, featuring a dazzling array of performances by Sri Lanka's most talented artists.
Happy birthday to you.
Today is truly a memorable day for all of us because 25 years ago, our late Chairman Mr. Raja Mahendran planted a seed and he also planted a dream. The seed that he planted was meant to grow into a tree that would provide shelter and give opportunity to young people in Sri Lanka. 25 years is not a short period of time. It's a very long time and it comes with its challenges, difficulties and many obstacles. Shakti is a truly global, international Sri Lankan channel at the next 25 or 50-year anniversary.
The 25th anniversary celebration of Shakti TV was a truly memorable event one that showcased the channel's commitment to excellence and its unwavering dedication to the Tamil-speaking audience of Sri Lanka.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Satyanesan. You take care and good day.